Welcome to this week's episode of So, What's the Catch? We really appreciate you tuning in. Bryan, James, Churk, Berserk, and myself love doing this show every Wednesday. It gives us an opportunity to get together and discuss a wide variety of topics from across the sports world, be it from the National Basketball Association, Major League Baseball, or the National Football League. Occasionally we throw stuff in from the National Hockey League. But mostly we focus on the NBA, MLB, and NFL. Like I said, we really appreciate you tuning in. And before we get into today's episode, make sure you punch that subscribe button like a UFC player. So tell your family, tell your friends, tell everyone you know. Subscribe to the So What's the Catch YouTube channel, and also subscribe to Unger to the Max. We post every episode of So What's the Catch on both channels. That way, there's more outlets for you to catch an episode. So maybe you haven't subscribed to So What's the Catch, which you should. Well, guess what? You can watch this week's episode on Unger to the Max. Maybe you haven't subscribed to Unger to the Max yet, which you should. Guess what? You can go over to the So What's the Catch YouTube channel and watch the video there. We like to give you various platforms to catch every episode. So with all that being said, welcome to today's episode of So What's the Catch? It is Wednesday and it is 2 o'clock, so you know what that means. It's time to catch up, and let's get started with So What's the Catch? Yes, that is my new pun. That is my new play on words. I try. So anyway,
Go ahead.
I don't know what the heck just happened, but anyway, the Golden State Warriors, for the fourth time in 8 years, they are the NBA champions. I was wrong about the amount of games this series would go. I was wrong about who was going to win this series. My bold prediction was wrong. So I was wrong all the way around on this series. I am not afraid to admit that.
Yeah, I'm not afraid to admit either. I was wrong too. I thought the Celtics could win it, but Warriors seemed to pull another one. I'll admit Steph Curry is one of the best, but still the Cavs.
We've been trying to tell you since the playoffs started that this is how it was going to end.
I'd like to just say I called this. I called this. So kudos to me. I called this. I told you it's going to happen. The Warriors were so much better than the Celtics. It was not even close. Okay, the Warriors were just that much better than Boston. As far as where Boston ranks on the teams the Warriors have faced in the finals, I'd probably put them in the middle, to be honest with you. But only ahead of the LeBron and Dellavedova series. And the final run of that finals series between the Warriors and the Cavs being below the Celtics team. Because I think the Raptors were better, and I think the other two Cavs teams were better.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%.
The Celtics put up a fight early, but then all of a sudden what happened?
Good teams find ways to win late, and that's what happened here.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean,
the Warriors are a great team. Just good teams do that. They're a great team. So
yeah,
they closed the deal. They sealed the deal. They closed the door. They're like, okay, this is our series. This is our title. Deal with it.
Yeah. I think it's unfair to say the Warriors dynasty was ever over, even though they had that 2-year period where they were, they made it to the play-in tournament and lost to the Lakers and then got smashed by the Grizzlies. But for somebody to say the Warriors title dynasty is over, or title run, however you want to say it, I don't think that's fair to say. Because you knew
Who said it was over? It was never over.
Yeah, that was my question. Who
said that?
Whoever said it was over?
That's like saying the Bulls run was done in '95 when Jordan came back from baseball. Okay,
Right.
you know it's not the same. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, it was never over. It was on pause for a minute, but it's back now.
The people who doubted it and the obvious haters and people who have a slant against the Golden State Warriors, they were basically exposed here by this series.
Mm-hmm.
The Golden State Warriors proved that they were the dominant team. There was no question about it after the game, after Game 6 ended, that like Golden State was the better team. They did keep it close to the first couple games, and made it interesting. It wasn't a sweep, whatever. But I mean, this series was never really particularly close. Just because Boston, won a couple games, it still doesn't say much. You know what I mean? Like
Boston's depth wasn't even that good. Like
Boston's not really that good to begin with. Okay,
Yeah,
their depth wasn't that good. Like as far as substitutions go,
they were one of the more overrated teams this postseason. Was Boston? Okay, listen. As I expected, Jason Tatum choked in the finals. He was
100%.
He was terrible. And I kept trying to tell you guys that Jason Tatum's not quite there yet. That he's not there yet. He's not going to be able to show up. He's not going to be that guy in the moment. They don't have
I don't necessarily think that Jason Tatum will ever be that guy, really.
He's not.
I think that he's a good – I'm not saying he's not a good player. He's a great player. People really – they tried to elevate him this year, though. Like they tried to throw him – They tried to throw him into the MVP conversation and all this other stuff, and it was just being oversold, and that's part of it being in Boston. When you're in Boston, you have a history like the Celtics have, like you're always going to get oversold, and that's what I think has happened with Jason Tatum is that like people they wanted it to work so bad, they wanted him to be this transcendent superstar like a Kobe Bryant that could lift them over a great team with a Steph Curry and a Klay Thompson, but he's not that guy, And
he needs more pieces.
I mean,
that's not his issue. His issue isn't more pieces. This sounds like a Bill Simmons argument. Also, by the way, fuck Bill Simmons. But continuing here, it's not about pieces for him. It's about whether or not he's that guy. He's not that guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's not that guy. No, he's not that guy.
And is Jaylen Brown that guy either?
No, they're good players. They're good players, but they're not the guy that is going to be the reason why they win a title. He'll be a part of a team that wins a title. He won't be the reason.
Right.
Yeah. It's not about putting pieces around Jason Tatum because Jason Tatum is a piece. That's what we've learned about Jason Tatum. He is a piece.
So is Jaylen Brown.
You add to a LeBron to try to piece together a team.
Bingo.
Like he's not the guy you build around. Like I gotta admit, like I kind of got sucked into the Jason Tatum hype a little bit too, but I never put him up there with like, a guy like a Kobe or LeBron or a Steph. Like I just never did. I never considered him that good. But I did think that he was starting to peak at the right time. And I did honestly expect more from him this series. I will say that. I did expect more than we saw from him this series. But at the end of the day, am I shocked that he wasn't an MVP and didn't get them over the hump? No, I'm not shocked at all.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you about that, Bryan, on basically everything you said. But the main thing I want to focus on from what you just said was he never elevated his game. You never saw that game from him, if you know what I mean. Like when he went against Giannis and the Bucks in the second round, he had a couple games where it's like, oh, it's that game type thing. Like when he went against,
I don't think anyone's going to be looking back on Jason Tatum's postseason run and referring to him as that game. This isn't Jordan the flu game. Okay, that's not what this is. Where it's a nickname. You know what I mean? No one's going to remember about Jason Tatum's postseason because the Celtics didn't win anything. Okay?
Yeah, I think that was Josh's point.
Pulled it in the finals, predictably, and that's all they're going to remember. Everything positive he did, completely negated by his finals performance.
Josh, if I'm correct, though, what your point is that people were trying to make that the game. They were trying to say this is the game that is showing that he will be that guy, and it didn't end up being that. I think that's where you were going with that.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Okay.
Like he had in the series against Milwaukee, like he had a couple games where it's like, oh, it looks like he's actually like being the superstar we tabbed him to be. I understand that you guys don't consider him to be a superstar. I get that. I'm saying
I do.
He's not a superstar.
You also consider this guy a superstar.
No, but I got a good, clever nickname for Mr. Tatum.
What
I'm just saying.
Let Josh go first.
Okay.
I'm just saying the general public, I think, wants to put him in the superstar class. I understand that you guys
the general public meaning the writing staff at the Ringer. Sure, I mean, yeah, they're trying to make this a
Bleacher
thing.
Report, maybe,
or Bleacher Report. They're the same way. I mean,
I've seen it though. Josh is right. There are publications out there that really wanted to force the Celtics into being a thing. Like you know what I mean? They're an East Coast bias team that gets the favor of a lot of writers.
They've been in love with them the past like 4 or 5 years.
I mean, they've been all over the Celtics and the Sixers for the better part of half a decade.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Like, it's all about the Celtics, and they have all these draft picks. Well, they hoard all their draft picks. They still got shit. It was, look, and who's the guy that's no longer their coach? Brad Stevens. Brad Stevens is such an elite coach. I would take Brad Stevens over any player. Completely ridiculous nonsense. Because
how did they get?
Because they're just balls deep on some Celtics dick. That's all this was.
Celtics fans are crazy though. Like they are a fan base that's like they're like almost too passionate in a way, like that it kind of blinds their judgment a little bit more than a normal fan base.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they really bought into their own hype. Like they built a hype machine around Jason Tatum, not Jason Tatum.
I have to admit, as Cavs fans, we kind of do that though too.
Yeah, to an extent, but I wouldn't say like to the point where we deify players that aren't that good. You know what I mean?
I'm Churk here, but you know.
Yeah. No, Bryan, I think you're 100% right. Like, you know, we saw even in the Brooklyn series, like how Boston fans can be. Like, you remember everything that happened with Kyrie and him doing, you know, that whole thing to the fans.
Oh, yeah, I do.
So
we're not going to get into all that, but still, like, Boston
they're known as being an edgy fan base that goes over the line.
Correct.
They're aggressive. They're aggressive. Is what it is.
That's a good way to put it.
It's aggressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like Boston fans are put under the microscope more than most fan bases.
Yeah, I mean, that has to do with their history.
I'll put Knicks fans up there, too.
I mean, are we talking about anyone that isn't Spike Lee? Or
workers in general.
Who's the clown? I just watched a movie with this clown in it yesterday from like 25 years ago. Oh, Michael Rappaport. That's the other one.
Yeah.
Those two clowns.
Michael Rappaport? Yeah, I do remember
the worst. Deep Blue Sea, the one where he gets eaten by a shark.
Oh, that's right.
Wait, he was in that?
Yeah, he was. I found that out yesterday because I blocked that out of my mind from 20 years ago.
Oh, how about this tweet I saw? I can't remember who it was, but it was a Boston fan, and it was, do we need to have an honest discussion about maybe bringing back Kyrie Irving?
How about Terry Rozier?
That's the Boston fan base in a nutshell. You know what
Terry
I mean?
Rozier.
They absolutely murdered that guy for months and months and months. Mm-hmm. And now here they are wondering, maybe we should bring him back to town.
Bryan, would Terry Rozier be a bad idea? I don't think that one would be as bad.
No, but I mean, he's not going to take him over the top, you know?
No, that was one of the biggest problems the Celtics had in this series is Marcus Smart. James, I know you're feeling about him winning Defensive Player of the Year, but focusing mainly on the offensive side. he's not the type of point guard that's going to be like, okay, Jason Tatum, I'm going to get it to you where you can do something with it. Jaylen Brown, I'm going to give you the ball in a position where you can do something with it. That was one of their biggest downfalls from my observation anyway, not having that traditional point guard to slow the game down and set up the offense. It hurt them.
Yeah.
They really need a superstar. They're a superstar away. Like, unless you take a player like Giannis and put him on the Celtics, like, they're not a championship team. They're just not. And like, I could say the same about a lot of teams in the East and a lot of teams in general. And that's the thing. Like, the NBA is very top heavy, very, very top heavy. And that's why James was like, trying to tell all of us, like, you guys need to pump the brakes. Like, this Golden State team is just a tier above everybody else right now. And I think that that's true. And I think that Boston is that far away. Like, they are a Giannis level player away from being a Golden State level team. And that's why, and I hate to keep doing this, but like, when we keep talking about expansion in the NBA, it's only going to make it worse.
Yeah.
I mean,
you know what
why
I mean?
would you say it makes it worse?
Because like, look at how like top heavy it is right now. You know what I mean? And like, you want to add more teams and more players that are like not really starters on any other team in the league. It's just going to create the gap between the bottom of the league and the top of the league being even wider.
Bring back
Like,
the superstars.
anyone that doesn't have a team like Golden State or, doesn't have a team like the Bucks championship team or the Toronto championship team, like, they're all in the same boat. So,
yeah.
I mean, think about it this way. When's the last time like the Indiana Pacers were really relevant? Look at the Hornets or the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies are on their way up, but they have like a year of relevance, maybe two, then they disappear for a decade. When's the last time you had a genuine thought about, hey, I'm going to watch the Sacramento Kings?
Never.
Exactly.
It's Chris Webber.
That's the problem.
Those teams will forever stay in the basement if we keep adding teams to the league because it's just watering down the talent even more. There's already too many players in the NBA. There are players in the NBA that don't belong in the NBA. It's that simple.
And is that one player right up there?
You mean like that guy?
Yeah, exactly. You could be 7 foot, 13 inches tall, a literal monster like Taco, and you could still not make it in this league. Like, it is the talent level at the top in basketball is so dramatically higher than the next tier below it. Like, the gap between the G League and the NBA is like a mile bigger than the gap.
It's like the difference between like Major League Baseball and Low A. It's that big.
That's what it is. Yep.
Yeah.
There'll be a lot of Dean Wade level players.
And when you add an expansion team, what you're basically doing is elevating a team that was a single A team. You know what I mean?
You're infusing probably 15 players who were regular G League players, and they're now NBA players.
Right.
And then they'll get like one or two like 20-point per game role players on the team too.
None of those people exist.
Yeah.
No.
20-point per game role players in the G League? No.
No, not the G League. I'm talking about on the expansion team.
How are they going to get
who's going to be? Who are you going to find?
Their starting five is going to be nobodies.
Yeah.
They're going to be legitimately starting players like Chetty Osman if they have to have an expansion team. Okay.
They will.
Will they start Dean Wade?
In my opinion, if the NBA wants to move to different markets, they need to. They're going to have to cut another team. They're going to have to move a team from location X to location Y.
Just not the Cavs.
I hope not. No.
No, I hope it's not the Cavs. But it's like when there was a group in Seattle that tried to buy the Sacramento Kings and move them to Seattle to bring back the Sonics.
Oh wow! I would have liked that move.
Look at the MLS.
That would have been a good move.
Not to talk too much soccer, but when you look at the MLS, like they're expanding fast. And like that's a league where like it's not the best talent in the world already. And you look at the teams, like the newer teams, like you look at your Cincinnatis and your Nashvilles and your Austins, and you look at how dreadfully awful those teams are. That's what you're going to welcome into the NBA. And good luck ever digging yourself out of that hole. You know what I mean? It's just perpetuating the cycle of, the great teams being way better than everybody else.
Yeah, right. So the way I always look at it is I remember probably about 10, 12 years ago or so, I was watching the MLS All-Star team play Manchester United's B team, and they lost 7-0.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. There was no Wayne Rooney in that game. Right. It wasn't David De Gea in goal. It was all of the backups.
Yeah.
Okay. They lost 7-0 to that.
Yeah.
By the way, that team would lose 7-0 in the Premier League.
Yeah, and look at the Premier League. They only have 20 teams, and they kick 3 teams out every year that aren't good enough. And that's why they're the top league. Like, you look at all the top sports leagues in like Europe, they're not these massive 32-team leagues. They're 18 to 20-team leagues, and it makes the talent level so much higher, and the parity is so much greater because there's not this big gap between rosters like there is when you have a 32-team league.
Right. Yeah, that totally makes sense, Brian. I can't argue with anything you're saying. I think anybody who tries to is crazy, actually, because you're right. Like, there's a huge gap between like the Golden State Warriors and the Sacramento Kings. Like, sure, Sacramento might be able to win a game against Golden State, but that would probably require like Steph to be injured and or Draymond to be injured, whatever.
Yeah.
So, and it's like
they play 10 times, they might win once.
Yeah. Or it's like in the NBA, now we had the big 3 era. Maybe it still is the big 3 era, but you have superstars wanting to team up.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not going to have like genuine teams, if you know what I mean, like winning. Like, you're going to have super teams, if that makes sense.
So going back to dating back to 2015, the Warriors are 18-7 against the Kings.
Against the Kings?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There was the year where everybody was hurt that they lost all 4 games, all 3 games.
Mm-hmm.
So that played a factor into
what
why
I was saying.
It's that close. But if that wasn't like the year where Steph and Clay weren't hurt and it was the Draymond and nobody show, they would have won all those. They won all 3 of those games.
Yeah, that's exactly what. That's 100% what I was saying.
I'm just attaching numbers to it.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. He's just helping reinforce your point.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of interesting, though, going back to the finals. The Warriors have won 3 out of these past 4 championships have been won on the road. The only championship they won at home was 2017. Other than that, 2015 they won in Cleveland, 2018 they won in Cleveland, and now 2022 they won in Boston.
That's what happens when you're a dominant team. You end up picking up that victory earlier on the road. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You don't let it come down to game 7 at home. That's why. Like, they never go 7 games. You know
they take care of business at home.
Yep.
Then they take care of business on the road.
Yeah,
right.
It's part. It just it shows their dominance even more. The fact that they're winning these titles on the road in these locations. It's like, that's not easy to win on the road. Let alone to feel a series victory, and they keep doing that time and time again. You're right.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this: do you think the Warriors, or any team for that matter, when they are on the verge of winning a championship, do you think they would prefer to win it at home, or do you think they prefer to win it on the road, where if you're on the road, like, you don't have to deal with the pressure of trying to win at home type thing in front of the home fans and all that?
2 things. 1, they don't care where they win as long as they win.
Okay.
2, that for Draymond because he wants to taunt the opposing fan base.
Right.
Road. Okay. But no one cares where they win as long as they win. As long as they're they're hoisting the Larry O'Brien trophy when it's all said and done, they don't care.
Yeah, they're still going to have the same party in the locker room with their team no matter where it's at. You know what I mean? So like they're still going to love the moment. And I promise you that nobody's ever went into a game 6 and said, maybe we should take it easy so we can win this one at home. It's never happened.
I understand. Trust me, I understand that. I just wonder if like teams have a preference. Like, I would prefer to win this one on the road, or I would prefer to win this one at home type thing. Just something I've thought about.
Yeah, no, they just prefer to win. Period. It's win. Period.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah, that makes sense. So, with this championship, Steph wins his 4th ring, and he won his first Finals MVP. So, of course, now...
LeBron.
Huh?
Tied LeBron.
So, of course, now everybody's playing him in the top 10 all time.
Yeah.
Do you guys agree with that or no?
Yeah.
I don't even have a top 10 list because it's a complete waste of time because certain people purposely overrate versus underrate people. Like, just admit he's a great player.
Yeah.
Kareem's better than Jordan, by the way.
Okay, that's ridiculous.
You remember that, Bryan?
You're on angel dust.
Why not?
The point
beats Air Jordan every day.
The point is like you can't compare Steph to LeBron. They're two different players,
Yeah.
And so like when you talk about ranking one in front of the other, it's like you're rating apples versus oranges. It's not the same thing, and that's why I think like these top 10 lists are kind of just an exercise in futility because like you can move things around. And I think the better question really is like, is he one of the best point guards of all time? You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah.
That makes a little more sense to me than like best player.
That's the conversation.
You ever think
but when you talk about like comparing like a guy like Shaq to a guy like, even Kobe, two totally different players.
So Bryan, that goes to a point I've had. Do you ever think the greatest of all time is an illusion? The fact is that it doesn't exist. Every style of player is different. Every player is different.
Kind of, sure, but
to an extent.
Yeah, but there are certain players where you just are able to identify they're just better than everyone else.
Yeah,
and,
I think that they are transcendent athletes. Like I think Michael Jordan transcends position. Like
Michael Jordan could lose against LJ Mayo in a 1-on-1 game.
Win now? That's the only way it would happen is now,
yeah.
and he would still win.
Right.
The fact that you brought up OJ Mayo just speaks to why we call you the wild card, Churk.
No, that actually did happen. They played 1-on-1.
Who cares?
But that's not what basketball is. It's not 1-on-1.
That's
right.
Game that they play.
5-on-5.
I will say this though. Like, if I were to make a top 10, it would not include like the greats like Magic, Larry Bird, and all that. Not because I don't think of them as being great or anything. I just didn't get to watch them like growing up, so I didn't get to fully experience how they played and all that. So I would base my top 10 on players like I grew up watching and have
like Allen Iverson.
So the way there are two things. One, the way to approach that is say the top 10 of players I've seen in my lifetime would be the way to say that. So you don't get destroyed for that, because Larry Bird and Magic Johnson are two of the top 10 players of all time. End of story.
Okay.
There's that. But there's this magical thing. I don't know if you heard of it. It's called YouTube. Those games are on it. You can watch them play.
Yeah. Out there, man.
Google it. You mean like how you always tell me Google is your friend?
Yep. Google 100%. Is your friend.
Yeah, I mean, if someone ever asks, like, if you're tasked with putting a top 10 together, it would be foolish not to look at footage of older players. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I agree with what you're saying. Like, why would I rate players that I've never personally seen play? It wouldn't be fair for me to do that. Is what I think you're saying?
Yeah,
you just exactly in a different way.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I think James is right. The right way to phrase that is just, hey, you know what? I'm only going to rate the 10 players that I've seen in my lifetime because it wouldn't be fair to me to rate guys I've never watched play. You know what I mean?
So moving forward, I should say the 10 best players that I've seen.
There you go.
There you go.
Okay. I would include Steph on that list. I would also have Chauncey Billups on that list. D-Wade, Kobe.
Dean Wade?
This is wild.
Did you say Dean Wade?
I gotta write this down here. Okay, so
hold on. Did you put a top 10 list together?
You said Dean Wade.
No, I'm not going in any particular order.
No, I just want players on this list. So we have Steph, we have Chauncey Billups, Dwayne Wade.
I think he said Dean Wade.
No, I definitely said
Continue.
Kobe.
Kobe, okay, that's 4.
This one goes against what I said earlier, but I would have MJ on there anyway.
Okay. So,
LeBron.
Okay.
Tim Duncan.
Okay.
Dirk. How many is that?
That's 8. You have 2 more.
Okay. Did I say Steph yet?
Yes.
That was the first name on the list.
Okay. Last 2 would be Ray Allen. And if I didn't say Dirk yet, then put him on the list.
You just said Dirk. You got 1 more.
Oh, okay. Tony Parker.
What?
Tony Parker. Okay, this is
Tony
the
Parker.
wildest top 10 I've ever heard.
Did you just say Tony Parker?
You didn't say Kevin Durant, did you?
You
He didn't say Kevin Durant.
He did not say Kevin Durant.
He didn't say Chris Paul. Didn't say Russell Westbrook.
Shaq.
No Shaq.
What the fuck? I meant to say
Tracy
Shaq.
McGrady.
Tracy McGrady.
Okay,
Vince
no Tracy
Carter,
McGrady.
Other guys that could have made this list.
Tracy
Okay,
McGrady I'll put over Chauncey.
No,
Okay,
this is your list written down now. No, I use pen. This isn't pencil. This is pen.
Fuck.
It's in pen. I'm holding your feet to the fire.
Fuck. I even meant to say Shaq.
I could have gone with your original list and had Steph and Dirk on here twice. That would have been entertaining.
Yeah.
I meant
Also,
to say
why do you put Chauncey in
Durant's
there?
not
Can you
top
tell me
10.
why you have Chauncey in there and Tony Parker? I want to
What'd you
hear
say, Bryan?
what your reasoning is.
So with Chauncey, I watched a lot of the Pistons growing up. I watched what they did in 2004 to 2010. Okay, and I really thought Chauncey played well, obviously, especially during that finals. So against the Lakers, and then that series against the Spurs in 2005 was fantastic.
So,
But-
question.
Did you even put Kobe
I
in
noticed you mentioned both the Lakers and the Spurs here. So some notable players from those teams, which you have omitted: Karl Malone, Gary Payton, Robert Horry.
Robert Horry's not the
Did you
best.
say
player.
Shaq?
I'm sorry.
No, I
That's also
stupidly
not on his list.
Shaq's not on it either.
Stupidly, I did not say Shaq, and
Is
trust
Paul
me,
Pierce on the list?
I had been thinking about this all week, and I kept putting Shaq on the list. So
Then why didn't you?
So,
I just forgot to. That's all.
so you had Ray Allen, but not Paul Pierce or Kevin Garnett.
I fucked up on this one.
That's what he would say. That's what Shaq would say.
My question was, did you intentionally leave Kevin Durant off the top 10?
No.
Okay, so you do think he's top 10.
Yes.
Okay, so out of the original people you named, kick one out.
Okay. All right, Tony Parker, kick him out. Add Kevin Durant. Easy.
Good. There you go. Now
Is
you're
Kobe on the list?
Yeah, I made
Kobe
sure
is on
to.
his list. Now this list is a lot more respectable.
Is
I
Paul
agree with
Pierce
it,
on the
it's more
list?
respectable.
Is Paul Pierce on the list?
No.
No.
We covered
No.
that already.
Yeah.
No.
Kevin Durant
No.
or Kevin Garnett also not on the list.
Kevin Garnett not on the list?
Okay. KG was a.
You do know
Just
only
now-
10 people can go on a top 10 list, right, Churk? Because you've
No,
named
I'm just like
48
saying
people.
some of these names are like
Yeah, right, but okay, like you.
The whole thing is so subjective, though, Churk. Like, obviously, you and I are not going to agree on it. I didn't put them in any order. I just wanted to name the players who were. I admit.
Okay.
This is
Okay.
why a top 10 list show is not the best content. This is exactly why.
Yeah.
Because it goes off the rails and like we just make a mess of it.
It's
Everybody
like
makes a mess of it when
This
they
is
try.
what we have here. We have this now.
Yeah.
all right, there's Josh's list.
Anyway,
I would
let's
say
continue here.
There's only a certain amount of it that I think is subjective, though. I think that there are objectively a couple players in your lifetime that are on the top 10 list 100%. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that that's very subjective to argument. And obviously that's, to me, Kobe and LeBron and Kareem? Michael Jordan.
What about Kareem?
I'm talking about on his list that we just covered.
Okay.
Like those players, I think, are like, if anybody leaves those three off of their list is garbage. Throw it away.
It's a no.
Yeah, I agree with you. The other name I would include in that mix would be Dwayne Wade, but I understand what you're saying with Kobe, LeBron, and MJ.
Yeah, and Durant. I throw Durant in there too.
Yes.
So I think that there are five that if all five of those players are not in your top 10 is just done.
Yeah.
It's just trash.
Trust me, I meant to originally say Durant. It just escaped my mind.
I know you wouldn't leave him off there.
No. I have feelings about him.
Oh, do you? Do you?
Okay, not in that way.
You want to read you got a journal entry about him you want to read to us?
No.
Just wondering.
No. Okay, I have feelings about certain actions he's had in the past. Is that better phrasing?
With him going to Golden State, is that what you're referring to?
Bingo.
Gotcha. Now I follow.
Sure. I guess, but I mean,
a
good handful of the people on your list here have done the same thing.
And how about T-Mac too?
I don't think his career's long enough.
Yeah, when he was at his peak, like his prime, he was that caliber, but it wasn't long enough. Like his prime
it wasn't long enough. I mean, I just remember watching sad late career Tracy McGrady on the Pistons. Okay.
Yeah, there's some players that were really, really, really great, and if they could have maintained that throughout their career, they would be on this list. But
Gilbert
that's what makes this list so tough to get on. Is like there's only certain players that really transcend, opinion and become like these great, superstars. So
you say Agent Zero if he was healthy?
No.
You know
he can take his hibachi and go home.
Not on a hibachi list.
You know what's interesting though, Bryan, is like if I wouldn't be surprised if in like 2 weeks or whatever, if we were to revisit that list, if it was completely different. Like I feel like that list can change all the time.
The bottom five maybe, but the top five, I don't think so. I think the top five are set in stone. They belong there, and nobody can touch those. The rest of the five, though, those can change with the wind. You can make an argument for any of those. But
do you think Giannis can get himself into that top five and make it like top 6?
How old is he right now?
25, 20. No, he's like 27, 28.
Oh, yeah. If he maintains.
Maybe 29. I'm not sure how old he is.
Let's just say he goes another 5 or 6 years at the level he's playing now, then absolutely, in my opinion.
Yeah.
How many more champions?
Guys that fill the stat sheet like that are hard to argue against,
How many
you
more
think Giannis will be up there, top 10?
That's exactly what we were just talking about.
So, how many more championships do you think Giannis would need to win in order to get into that conversation? Or does that part not matter?
That part doesn't matter.
Not to me. It helps if you have one, I guess. But I don't.
Got one. Just get some more.
There's a lot of players that have a lot of championships that aren't top 10 players.
Either get a lot of championships or a lot of records. One of the two.
Here's what he just needs to do: just keep getting the personal accolades, keep being a great player, maybe another MVP, and we're good.
Yeah,
that's all
reasonable requests. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not like go win 3 more titles. It's get some more personal accolades. Keep being great.
Yeah, I think that when we talk like all-time greats, like it's really about like the duration of their career has a lot to do with it. Like the duration of their prime. So I think like just being available and being in the league for a long time and playing at a high level is part of the requirement of making the list, in my opinion. Like if you don't have longevity, that to me is what separates the goods from the greats, is like being able to maintain your peak physical condition for as long as possible. Like, they put the extra effort in, the extra work in. Guys like Kobe and LeBron, nobody works harder than those guys. Like, people can say whatever they want about LeBron on and off the court, whatever. Nobody works harder than that guy. Like, he is in the best condition of anybody in the league at all times. He spends millions of dollars to keep himself in shape. Like, that's what the greats do. Like, they make sure that they stay great. And there are guys that get, like Tracy McGrady, that maybe get a little bit, they rest on their laurels a little bit, They go and they lead the league in scoring and make an all-star game and, maybe appear in the finals, and they think that they're up there with the greats, and they're not. You gotta keep working at your craft to stay there. And it's so hard to stay at the top like that. That's why teams like Golden State are so goddamn impressive. Or teams like the Spurs, are so impressive because, like, it's so hard to get to that point. So to stay there is what separates the greats from the goods, in my opinion.
So let me ask you this, Bryan, because you just brought up the Warriors and the Spurs. Do you think that it's fair to say that if, let's say, Golden State wins the title again next year, which I think they have a great shot at doing, is it fair to call them the modern day Spurs?
I think they're already there. 4 championships in 8 years. They're already almost there. The other part that I would say you got to add to it is making the postseason for the next 10 more years too. Because that's another thing that they maintained was they're always in the postseason. They don't have down years. They have off years, but not down years.
Yeah, the Spurs never had a little run like the Warriors just did. That never happened.
That's the problem I have with the comparison right now is that the Spurs were always great. Like, even when they didn't win the whole thing, they were still up there, Whereas Golden State, it was like when they fell off, man, like, were they not near the bottom worst teams?
That's how they got. That's how they got
James. They got James Wiseman because they were bad.
Yeah,
exactly. They were never there. They were never there.
Right.
Let's say if they win one more, then they're getting closer. Like, championship wise, I mean, 5 titles in 9 years is ridiculous.
And those draft picks could also develop into like the next generation afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, the younger players on the team, like, I don't know. I don't know if they've got any younger players that are going to turn into a Steph or a Clay. To be honest. And, Steph and Clay are pretty damn good. Like, Jordan Poole, like, I love Jordan Poole. He's a Michigan kid, whatever, but, like, he's not Steph. He'll never be Steph.
How about Otto Porter?
Starters, but they won't be those guys.
Exactly.
No. Right. Yeah. Steph and Clay are easily the greatest shooting backcourt in the history of the NBA. I don't
Splash Brothers.
If they want to go on like a Popovich-esque run in terms of like postseason, just sustaining, making the postseason, they're going to have to reorganize a lot of their team.
It's so weird to know that like in 2014, Clay was almost about to be traded.
Yeah, the thing about the Spurs, it was like they had the same team for so damn long. You know what I mean? Like, drafted them.
The succession plan in the way that they changed the focus of their offense as guys started to age out. I mean, first was David Robinson. Then you saw them get good with Tim Duncan. Then you started they introduced Tony Parker and Manu and eventually Kawhi, and that was just the way everything was orchestrated and put together and shifting. That's so just unheard of in any sport, but especially the NBA. To have that much of a succession plan, that 20 years of superstars that you have, and you're able to just kind of rotate how much they're being used, you don't see that.
Yeah.
Right. By the way,
Popovich is a freak. The Spurs are a great franchise. Like, it's hard to put anything up against what they did.
Yeah. It's not like you can accuse them of cheating or doing something, breaking the rules in the NBA. So that's the main difference between them and, say, the New England Patriots. Like, with the Patriots, you can accuse them of cheating or whatever. Are those accusations valid? It depends on who you talk to. But still, I think the point is still valid. Like, you look at Golden State, it's the same thing. I I've never heard of them being accused of cheating or breaking the rules, anything like that.
Then you are paying attention because I have 2 words for you, my friend: moving screens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is a big controversy.
They are the kings of moving screens. They always have been. They always will be.
Yeah.
I must have missed that.
You did, because trust me, moving screens galore. Go watch some of the 2016 Warriors highlights. Good God. Moving screen after moving screen that didn't get called.
Oh, shit. Just listen to one of Draymond's podcasts during the finals where he literally says, like, I am allowed to get away with playing the game a different way, essentially, because I've earned that right to be refereed different. You know, like that. It just shows.
And he still fouls out in half the games.
Exactly. Like,
Yeah.
they haven't been pure, but I do agree with you on San Antonio, though. Like, that's a team that just was, like, never mired in controversy. Like, they just, everything was done the right way for a long time. And so, I agree with that part of it. But the Golden State part, I don't think they're as sweet.
They're a little cheap.
Yeah.
And even with LeBron, he was a flopper.
You know what? I actually think about it. I do see what you're saying. And even with Golden State, too, like back in 2016, Draymond should have been suspended when he kicked Steven Adams in the nuts.
Well, yeah.
Well, if he got suspended then, he would have got suspended later, and that wouldn't have been good for the Cavs. So I'm happy with the way that
Steven Adams did get him back the next game with a posterizer. You remember that, Bryan?
I do remember that, actually.
Speaking of the Warriors, I actually have a Splash Brothers pennant, but that's only because when I go to no, it's because when I go to these teams' arenas, I like to get some piece of paraphernalia. So
paraphernalia. That's a good word for a Warriors pennant.
That's memorabilia.
Yeah, memorabilia.
Oh, it's Warrior stuff.
It's not borderline legal to have
paraphernalia is. We're not talking about Lamar Odom right now. Like, paraphernalia is a different type of.
I was just making a negative connotation of Warrior stuff, so I agree with the paraphernalia term.
I now realize I've been using the wrong word for a while because I always thought
memorabilia is a way better word choice there, buddy.
It's memorabilia.
Yeah.
Okay. I appreciate.
I'm sure you can get some Warriors paraphernalia if you go to the right place.
It's out there. Yeah.
Okay. But you have memorabilia.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you for correcting me.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Needed
to be done.
And as a Cleveland fan, that kind of is paraphernalia.
Yeah, I agree with Churk to an extent. I think it's a little bit sacrilege.
I agree with Josh when he said that. I know he said it by accident, but I think he's right.
I'm kind of with Churk on this one.
Do I need to show you the other pennants and stuff that I have?
No,
we don't need
them because we go there.
There you go.
I have a separate show about Josh's collection.
You and Daryl Ryder, or whoever it is that, or who's the stooge that posts all the memorabilia stuff?
Oh, Darren Ravel.
Darren Ravel. Sorry, my apologies to Daryl Ryder. You're all right. Darren Ravel.
Darren Ravel.
Yeah.
The worst.
He's always
the worst.
Like random Topps baseball cards and other.
Anyway, moving on to some other NBA stuff. Colin Sexton apparently could get upwards of $20 million
a year.
Yeah.
Why?
Not with the Cavs.
I hope
not. Colin Sexton defenders on the internet are just as
they're Baker Bros, basically.
They're Baker Bros. They have the same intensity as Baker Bros.
They really do.
Like they really do. He's everyone's like 20 million is not that much. It's not that bad. Well, that doesn't mean do it. Like
yeah. I agree. And it's also like that it's about where the 20 million goes, you know. 20 million to him is 20 million that can't go to better people.
You know what I mean? We already got the Kevin Love contract. Why are we doing this with Colin?
Well, we're not. That's the thing.
Kevin Love aside, but you're still going to have an extension. You're going to have to Darius Garland at some point. You know you're going to have to extend Evan Mobley at some point. Why would you want to have
Jared Allen?
Money? He already has an extension.
Yeah, he's already.
Why would you want to take money that could go towards paying those people and earmark it for somebody else who's just not good enough?
Yeah. I'm not even going to say that Sexton's not worth $20 million based on the market, but it's not worth it for us to pay him $20 million. Like it might make sense for another team to give them $20 million, but not for the Cavs. That's my main argument with the Sexton stuff. It's like he just doesn't fit. You know what I mean? It just you know it when you see it, you feel it, and when he's on the court versus the team that was out there last year that made a run to the postseason, like it's not a good fit.
They're better without him. We have actual evidence they're better without him.
We have a lot of evidence that we're better when he's not on the team. So
the Rockets could be a good fit for Sexton.
Sure, anywhere.
Yeah, you can go play with Kevin Porter Jr. again. Okay,
yeah.
Let them go have some fun and be on the irrelevant Rockets.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of the Houston Rockets, they have the number 3 pick in the NBA draft tomorrow, I believe.
I do not have the draft order in front of me, but maybe.
I know the Cavs the 14th, right?
Yeah, Cavs have the 14th pick, and I'm just going to say this outright. If Ojai Abaji is there at 14, the Cavs should not waste any time. Just put Ojai Abaji on the card, turn it in, have a nice day. I think Ojai Abaji would be the perfect guy to go with Darius Garland, because what you saw last season was Garland, he was able to get his own shot, but it was also like having to nobody else in the starting lineup really could make a play for themselves. They needed Garland to set them up. Whereas with Ojai Abaji, I watched him during the March Madness bracket all the way until Kansas won the championship. He wouldn't need Garland to set him up. He can get his own shot, which takes the pressure off of Darius. I think it opens up the offense a lot more, and I think it would just enhance the team. Do I think it would necessarily put them into the playoffs? Hard to say, because who knows what the Eastern Conference is going to look like. But if Ojai Abaji is sitting there, the Cavs should not waste any time. Write his name on the card. Have a nice day.
Talk about who the Cavs should take at 14.
Yeah.
Here's my problem with that player. I don't think adding a shooting guard is going to be what takes them to that next level. I really don't. They need a small forward. They need a wing player. So you need to be looking at one of two people, either Jalen Williams or Malachi Brown. Okay, those two guys are tall, they have length, and that would fit with what the Cavs are doing currently with guys like Evan Mobley and Jared Allen.
I agree with you, but here's the problem. Is while I like Isaac Okoro defensively, his offense.
Who cares? I don't give a shit about Isaac Okoro. Outside of the New Kids on the Block gif I tweet when he makes a 3, he's useless to me. Okay? So I don't care about Isaac Okoro. He shouldn't be the starting shooting guard anyways. You find somebody else. Maybe it's LeVert. Maybe you sign somebody. But you don't need to just –
and we don't need Chetty Osman either.
You don't need him either. But what I'm looking at is draft a small forward, kick Lauri Markkanen into the curb, and find another person to play shooting guard.
What's wrong with Lauri?
Complete waste of money and roster space. He sucks.
Yeah, I got to be honest. I'm not well-versed enough in the college basketball game to really know enough about these players to say who I think they should take. But I'm 100% with James in terms of what we need. I think that's the position that we should draft 100%. So whoever the best available is at that position at 14 is who I think that we should take.
Because the way I look at it is this way. They need people that can make three-pointers because the Cavs were middle of the road to below average in three-pointers. Malachi Branham made 42% of his three-pointers last year for Ohio State.
I did watch him play, and I would like that pick very much. He would be a very good fit on the Cavs. Unfortunately, I'm very familiar with him. To be honest, though, I only watch Big Ten basketball until the tournament. I don't watch all these other teams. So, when I look at the draft, with college football, I feel comfortable talking about first-round draft picks and second-round draft picks. But, with the NBA draft, I just don't know enough about these guys to like pretend like I can pick one over the other. But I do think that's the position of need that needs filled and would be wisest to draft at 14.
Yeah, I understand that. And James, I do hear what you're saying, and I don't disagree with what you are saying about small forward being a definite need. But you even said it. Okoro's should not be the starting shooting guard. And who knows?
He was a starting shooting guard out of necessity. I mean, look at all the guys that they trotted out at that position over the course of the season. It was because they had to have somebody play. It wasn't because they wanted him.
So, I think Okoro would be a good bench role player with like a low minute role. Comes in like a defensive specialist type situation. Like, yeah, he'd be okay in that role, but no.
He reminds me a little bit of Trevor Ariza, more so than Tayshaun.
He's not good enough to be Trevor Ariza offensively. I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again. I've said that before, and I'll say it again in the future. He's Tayshaun Prince. He is Tayshaun Prince.
Yeah.
Limited offensive ceiling, better on defense.
That's actually a good comparison.
He was good on offense.
Who?
Tayshaun Prince.
The only time he was good on offense is when the Pistons were bad.
Yeah.
He averaged like a good 13 points a game.
Okay.
That's not good. Who gives a shit about 13 points?
It's enough to contribute on the team.
If you follow that one, or if you see that one tweet from that one asshole who just race baits everybody on Twitter, his Cantor Freedom would have been the difference for the Celtics in the finals because he averages 11.8. Who cares about 13 points a game?
Yeah, that's maybe a good offensive player.
Play defense.
He's a great offensive player. It's just wrong.
Yeah,
he's not even good.
He's a good defender. He's a good defender.
Average
offensive player.
But that's why I'm saying, James, that even if you're draft a shooting guard, that's still filling a need because Isaac Okoro was not a reliable starting shooting guard. I understand that we had to put
sure, but here's the thing, Josh. Just because you're drafting a small forward doesn't mean that stops you from signing or acquiring a shooting guard. There are other ways to get one, and that's what I'm saying. Don't waste your time on just trying to replace Isaac Okoro. Think big picture here. Think broad perspective. You gotta get rid of marketing. You really do. He's a waste of space. He's a waste of roster spot.
And Chetty?
Yes.
Get rid of Chetty too. Both.
Kevin Love?
It's a complete waste of financial assets.
Spending
money on those two players.
Would you get rid of Kevin Love too?
No.
Kevin Love stays.
But what about his contract?
Who gives a shit about his contract?
Churk.
He's bad.
Who cares? Who cares?
Churk, let me ask you this, buddy. If let's say we got rid of Kevin Love last season, do you think the Cavs are even close to being in the postseason picture?
Yes.
You're nuts. Okay, if they don't have Kevin Love last year, they're picking in the top 5.
100%.
Kevin Love is. I mean, he's not bad, but I don't think he's worth $100 million.
You're crazy.
Number one. Number two, the money you're paying him is just offset by the amount of money you're not paying Evan Mobley and Darius Garland.
Yeah.
And Colin Sexton, for that matter.
And you might as well throw that shirt away if Kevin Love wasn't on the team. So.
Yeah. The Cavs do
not.
You're
talking about this shirt? You're right.
I'm talking about that shirt you're wearing. You could throw that in the trash if you want to get rid of Kevin Love.
Yeah.
I mean, but that was prime Kevin Love.
Still, but that's how the NBA works. So it's like these star players, they earn these contracts late in their career. I mean, look at what Kobe made when he was, at the end of his career. And nobody was saying he was the same.
What now? The atrocity of the contract. What's his name? John Wall's on that he just opted into. He's getting paid like $47 million by the Rockets, who are just going to buy him out anyways.
Yeah, this is what happens. You win a championship with somebody and you were a star on that team, you're going to get a fat contract. You're going to be overpaid at the end of your career. That's just kind of how the contracts are structured in the NBA.
Because here's the deal. Kevin Love is worth more to the Cavs under contract, even for the $47 million he's making or whatever it is, because they're making more than that in merchandise sales and ticket sales and everything else that it more than makes up overpaying Kevin Love.
He's the heart and soul.
So that means we can pay these other players.
Yeah, the ones that matter.
Yeah.
The players that matter.
The ones that matter.
you got to trim the fat somewhere. You got to pay the guys that matter, and you got to get rid of the ones that don't. And you got to make those decisions. Like, not everybody on the roster is worth keeping. Like, that's just a fact.
Yeah, and on that point, I know we'll get to the Cleveland Guardians later, but they did the same type of thing yesterday by designating for assignment Oscar Mercado. Like, we had to get rid of somebody.
This is when good teams are trying to go from a good team to a great team. This is what happens. They figure out what their identity is. They figure out who their core players are. And then they figure out, the rest of the pieces they build around them, and those players are going to come and go, and they're always going to come and go. But you just can't keep all of these guys.
No.
When you're going from dog shit to average, you take any sort of player you can get for the off chance that they turn into a good to great player. But when you go from average to good, you got to start identifying who is going to be your foundation. And to get from good to great, you got to get rid of the guys that don't fit.
Yeah, right. If we march out the same exact team that we had last year, we're not going to win a championship. So you got to make moves.
100%.
Yes.
Like, think about what Milwaukee did. In order to win their 2021 championship, they went out and they traded for Drew Holiday. They traded for PJ Tucker. They brought in Bobby Portis, and they made other moves that put them in position to win that championship. Look at Phoenix. Would the Suns have been in the NBA Finals if they hadn't traded for Chris Paul? Would they have even made the playoffs if they hadn't traded for Chris Paul? Look at the Oklahoma City.
I'll give you a different example, and I think this one's more applicable. Okay, think back to about 10 years ago when the Warriors made the decision to move on from Monte Ellis. Okay, Monte Ellis is a good scorer. He can score points, but they identified they're not going to win jack shit with him on their roster, so they moved him.
Yeah. Steph was almost part of that trade.
Same with David Lee.
That's what happens. Sometimes guys are almost part of trades, but they have to identify guys like, we're not going to win with this guy. Sure, he can score, but he's not going to get us to that next level.
Yeah.
Right. That's 100%. Okay, so that's a lot of NBA talk. So I think it's time to move on to the National Football League, and we can start with the Cleveland Browns. And
okay, first of all, you skipped over something. Hold on.
What?
I brought up a basketball player that attended this institution, and we need to discuss this, okay? Because Ohio State has trademarked the.
No way.
They have the trademark for the.
Oh, my God.
It is finally going through after being talked about for the past, how long has it been? 3 years
It's
now?
been 3 years since they initially applied for the trademark.
3 years. So, thoughts?
This is awesome because it just allows the obnoxious side of being an Ohio State fan that I know that people get kind of annoyed about, but Ohio State fans just love to do it. It allows me to just amp it up just a little bit more.
It does have a little more behind it when it's actually got a trademark behind it. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
But as a fan of the University of Michigan, I do know that actually it is, because that's what we're called, the University of Michigan.
You're the University of Michigan. The University of Michigan.
The word "the" though is not going to be dropped off of our name just because you guys got a trademark.
That's fine. Pronunciation's different, my friend.
Yeah.
We are the Ohio State University.
Fair. So the Ohio State University has not beaten the University of Michigan in 934 days. That's all I know. So.
Oh, okay.
934 days.
I love it.
Well, almost as long as it took to get the trademark done.
Touche.
No, but it's cool. You got to do stuff like this when you're a college program. Like, the stuff that makes college sports great is it's the pageantry and the tradition and the stuff that the fans do that they get behind. And this is an Ohio State thing. It's always been the Ohio State University. We see guys on Monday Night Football all the time that played for Ohio State drop it. It's part of the identity. So, of course, I think this is cool. If we were doing something similar, I would have been all about it. But I'm a Michigan fan, so I'm going to talk shit about it.
Yeah. I got to agree with everything Bryan said, even though I am a Penn State fan. But as a college football fan, I love it because, like you said, it adds to the pageantry. It adds fuel to the fire in the Michigan-Ohio State rivalry, which I love because that's one of my favorite rivalries as an outsider. But college football
is the rivalry.
I see what you did there. That was good. That was good.
Yeah, it's actually trademarked now. It is the.
Okay,
now the game means even more.
I'm sorry. I won't call it the rivalry. It's the rivalry. Is that better?
Much better.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not speaking as an unbiased person in this matter at all. Not at all.
No.
Not at all.
You're not.
But yeah, I think we're all pretty much on the same page. It's fun, It's not like anything to be taken all that seriously. I don't think.
No.
It's the off season. It's the summer. What else is there to talk about? So yeah, this was fun. I thought it was cool. I honestly thought that it was never going to be done. Like I thought it was just kind of like a gimmicky thing that they were going to do every summer. But like it's a real thing. Like, I had to confirm it because I thought James was kidding when he said to me this morning that they finally trademarked it. And no, it's really a thing. So
yeah,
I mean, this easily could have gone the way of Paris Hilton trying to trademark "That's Hot," but
that's what it felt like to me. It felt like this was just something like for clicks, for fun, just for the fans. But it's actually real. Like it is trademarked now. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yep. So we'll go into the National Football League now, and we'll talk about Deshaun Watson. So he settled 20 of his 24 cases. So I don't know if that's going to have any impact on the length of the impending suspension from the NFL. But what are your general reactions?
It seems like to me this was sort of like they might have been like, hey, why don't you try and settle these things and we'll respond by giving you a lesser punishment. That's really what it seems like. They came out and said this has nothing to do with how he'll be punished per our collective bargaining agreement. To that I said, yeah, okay. Right. That's not believable. It totally is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think he kind of changed course because at the beginning of this thing, it was, I'm never going to settle. I'm going to maintain my innocence. I'm going to clear my name.
Yeah, clear my name. That's
clear my name. And so now, I mean, this is obviously a change of course, which means that discussions have happened behind closed doors. And James, I think you're 100% right. Like this was some pressure that it was like, look, let's get this settled so that we can figure out what the punishment is and try to put this behind you so you can move forward with your career. But yeah, that I don't know. I also don't believe that it had nothing to do with the suspension. I think that's bullshit.
Yeah, I agree.
It totally did. The NFL has their own fires that they're trying to deal with that are unrelated to this.
Yeah.
And, we'll talk about that one in a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
you did skip over the one thing that we finally get to put the kibosh on. The Browns shut down the ridiculous $100 billion land bridge architectural dome city thing they had planned.
Yeah.
Hey, I wasn't even going to bring this up. I told you guys that off mic in our group text. After all the backlash you guys gave me, I said I was not going to bring that up.
That's fine, but here's the thing. We're bringing it up because they shut down the ridiculous stadium, remember? Not because we're going to talk about where they're going to have a new stadium or are they going to build a dome or the purposes or, reasons to build a dome, okay? They shut down we're looking for a new stadium, remember? And that's important. Yes. They did say they are working on the stupid land bridge and buildings, which is just preposterous to look at. And it's going to end up looking like Progressive Field, where we were promised the Coors Field party deck and got cargo containers.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Yeah, so it's going to end up looking like just a giant cement bridge with like some trees and some benches. Okay. And in 5 years they'll close it so no one can walk across it anymore, like the other bridge.
Yeah, I thought it was important that we include it just so that we can put it to rest because it was something that continued to come up time and time again for quite some time.
And the local media had a field day with this bullshit, as I knew they would. Right. And it was preposterous.
Yep, you did call that right from the beginning. And
it was easy to see that this wasn't going to turn into anything from the beginning, because it was a non like sports related host from, and that's fine. Sometimes you get information from non-sports places, but it was all speculative. The only comment had nothing to do with anything. It was all speculative. Well, if they did, it was all unsourced information. It was stuff that it didn't have any actual evidence that they're going to go here, they're going to go there, or they're specifically looking at this. It was just all speculation.
Yeah, and I'm sure that it's all purely coincidence that all of this speculation about a stadium and a land bridge and all of this other stuff happens to be at the same time that Watson is in the process of settling 20 out of 24 suits, and they're trying to bury the lead. So what this was from the beginning very clearly was, let's generate something that's going to get a lot of clicks and a lot of discussion and have all the morning shows in Cleveland talking about anything other than Deshaun Watson. And that's what this was from the very beginning to me. It was something that they let grow, and they let this wildfire of rumors and speculation spread because it was, they're talking about something other than what we don't want them to talk about. So, yeah, to me, I just never bought it from the beginning for that reason.
I will admit I bought it hook, line, and sinker.
But that's why they do things the way they do. You know what I mean? Because it works. It works. They know how to bury the lead. We see it all the time, So
the amount of notifications I got over the weekend for Browns looking for a new stadium, it was like one an hour of just something new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody that's on Twitter and follows like the topic Cleveland Browns, that's like all you saw all day long was just boom.
Here's what kept happening. It was the first article which got turned into the thing from, I think it was Front Office Sports was the one that posted it initially. After the stupid Northeast Ohio transportation blog post. And everyone just kept referencing the Front Office Sports one, then not referencing that one. Then the next one referenced that one that referenced, and it kept doing that over and over and over again. It was aggregation after aggregation. Nothing new was added.
Yeah.
Right, which is exactly what you kept saying in the group text. And finally, I got the message, but it took a while, I will admit. But it's put to bed now. It is not happening. It is done.
Yeah, they put people through the spin cycle with this. That's what they did. It was just all smoke and mirrors and caused some confusion so that we're not talking about Deshaun. So.
And then predictably, people said, if they're going to have a new stadium, they should be at the Burke Lakefront Airport place. That place is useless. Because they just wanted more conversation to happen. Because apparently the default place for anything new is the stupid airport that nobody likes. Okay.
I know. Everybody always wants him to build on that.
And it's like sure, yeah, just close down the airport. Figure out where the 10,000 flights go out of there a year ago, and then you're good.
Yeah. And on top of that, and on top of that, James, figure out where pro teams are going to fly into when they come to play Cleveland teams. Like
that's why that airport is still valuable. It's used for teams that are flying in. It's used for politicians when they're doing whatever political crap. It's for famous people who are going down to the Cleveland Clinic. Okay, that's what it's used for. Sorry, it's not a giant commercial airport, and it could be turned into something better, maybe. But like, you look at where it is. There's not really a connection to downtown, anyways. Yeah. Where that spot is. If you're the goal of this stupid land bridge is to connect the stadium to downtown, putting it at the fucking airport just makes it worse.
I agree. I think so too. You make it even
there's no connection there.
Doing that. Yeah.
Hey, speaking of the airport, actually, the day the Guardians played the A's in that 11:30 start time, I went out on my uncle's boat and we actually saw the Oakland A's plane take off from Burke Lakefront Airport.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do they actually have the Oakland Athletics painted on the plane?
No.
No. Okay.
No, they got to save money for Moneyball.
Yeah, everybody. It's funny. Like some teams do that though. Like they
Detroit does that. I've seen the Detroit plane. It has the Tigers logo, the Pistons logo, the Red Wings logo on it.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I'm assuming Little Caesars as well.
Yeah.
I think it was before Little Caesar. It was before Little Caesars Arena that I saw it.
Well, no, well, Little Caesars is the parent company that owns all those teams.
Right. Yeah.
I don't think Little Caesars was on it.
I'm just saying because the Illiches own all of that. In addition to like 30% of downtown Detroit, with Dan Gilbert owning the other 70.
A lot of pizza comes from that area. Domino's Pizza too. Yeah.
There. Anyway, you have on the rundown, Roger Goodell is a liar.
Yes, he's a liar.
Why?
Yeah.
Okay, so apparently you have not been on Twitter all this afternoon.
No.
But Roger Goodell was on Zoom for whatever this Dan Snyder thing is, right?
Oh, I have heard somewhat about this.
Yeah, and the complete douchebag that is Jim Jordan asked him about banning Dave Portnoy from NFL things, and he pretended like he didn't know who he was and that Dave Portnoy wasn't banned. And no, you are very much aware who Dave Portnoy is.
I know exactly who Dave Portnoy is.
You know who he is. Okay, you're the company that removed him from the Super Bowl when he was there in disguise, which was kind of funny. You're the one who had him arrested when they were protesting Tom Brady's suspension for Deflategate. You're the one who passed out flyers with pictures of Barstool personalities on them saying keep them away from anything Super Bowl related. You're the one who ran a auction to see who can watch a football game with you in your basement. Portnoy won it, and it suddenly just disappeared.
That was so funny. I forgot that he won that auction. He paid like an exorbitant amount of money.
It was him and Marlins Man going back and forth about to see who's going to win it. And Marlins Man just let Dave win it.
Yeah. Yeah, this is just a bad look. It's like, dude, yeah, everybody knows you know who he is. Like, just own it. Just say, look.
And like we all know you have him banned. That you have all those people banned.
Right.
Like I remember, it was a Super Bowl a couple years ago. PFT was pretending to be broadcasting live from like one of the bathrooms in the stadium, but he was just in the bathroom of their headquarters in New York.
Yeah, that was so.
They were actively searching for him, and they couldn't find him because he wasn't there.
Yeah, they have a giant list of Barstool personalities that are. I'm pretty sure that it was like emailed league wide too.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of
it's got Big Cat. It's got Jared Carrabis for some reason. Noted NFL personality and analyst Jared Carrabis.
Yeah, him and all his NFL prowess.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude's a liar. He always has been. He's just.
Yep, dude is 100% a liar. But, bad transition. I don't know what the hell I was trying to say there. Let's try that again. Take two. Rob Gronkowski is retiring again.
Come to the Browns.
Much like Tom Brady's retirement, I don't believe this for 1 second. I think he will be back out on the field with the Buccaneers in end of October, early November.
Yeah.
His agent Drew Rosenhaus said he wouldn't be surprised if Gronk comes out of retirement after Tom gives him a call in a couple months.
Yeah. We know what Gronk's opinion is on OTAs and all of these things. Like he doesn't want to go. He doesn't want to be there. He doesn't think he needs to. So
he thinks it's a waste of time.
Yeah, exactly. So he knows exactly what he's doing, and everybody else knows what he's doing too. Mm-hmm. For now, everybody's just kind of like, we're all holding our breath waiting until he comes back. But I think this is just Gronk being Gronk, and just instead of, owning the fact that he doesn't want to go and show up to any of those things, he uses this as a way to write it off.
It's a great way to get around it. And considering, Gronk's, injury history and the state of, his body, skipping something that he doesn't want to go to and find a way to get out of it, do it. You got to look at, pain management, body management over the course of a season. Retiring for a brief period is a great way to, lessen the amount of hits and, wear and tear you do on your body.
Yeah.
I honestly would not be surprised if somebody within the organization said, hey, why don't you just retire for a while? so we don't have to worry about putting you out there. And we don't got to deal with the public relations backlash of you not showing up to this stuff. Like, just go sit quiet for a while, say you retired, and then we'll bring you back when you're ready.
Like, see you in August.
Yeah, this might honestly just be part of the plan for them. Like, until like the next football season's over and he doesn't come back, like, to me, this is just him. He's on vacation. He's on vacation.
Yeah.
Now, if he doesn't come back for like a year, I might more believe him.
Well, yeah.
You already did that once.
Right.
You already did that once. It came out of retirement.
Yeah.
Well, that still might be just retiring.
I remember, like, the Patriots traded him to Detroit, and he said, "Oh, I'm retired." Guess what? He was back with the Patriots.
Well, they just canceled the trade. But if we're talking about iconic moments with Gronk and the word retirement, it was when Tom Brady just blew into the conch shell and Gronk came running out of nowhere. Okay, that's the iconic moment.
Yeah,
yes.
That really was.
100%.
And we know it'll happen again. Tom Brady will come calling. He'll be the one that posts on his Instagram about it, and then the rumors will start again, and then he'll be back.
You think Tom Brady
will be like, "Hey, I got a new roommate," and not say anything about it, or he'll post something that's vaguely related to Gronk.
Yep.
And you think he could play till 50?
Who, Brady? Sure.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Brady could.
You think he could play at 50 years old?
I mean, he's what, 45 now?
Already, yeah.
You think he can beat the oldest player in the NFL? His record?
What was that? I don't even know the record.
It's got to be close. I think it was
George Blanda. I think that's
George Blanda.
That sounds right.
I don't know why I know that, but I do.
George Blanda played at 48.
Tom Brady's going to pass it, in my opinion.
Vinatieri was also 48.
Oh, James. George Blanda, date of birth. September 17th. Yeah.
GOAT birthday continues.
Is that your birthday?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Best birthday of all time, my friend. September 17th.
It just keeps getting better every time.
In addition to Bryan and myself, it's Jose Ramirez, Alexander Ovechkin, Patrick Mahomes, George Blanda. I mean, come on.
Nothing.
Those are the birthdays of the GOATs.
The best birthday of all time.
Hey, the only one that has my birthday that I know that's pretty good. Why do I have Brett Favre?
Brett Favre.
What day is your birthday, Churk? What day is your birthday?
October 10th.
Thank you.
Gotcha. October 10. You've got to have better than Brett Favre.
I have Brett Favre. I can't believe I have Brett Favre. I think Zach LaVine was on there too.
Mario Lopez.
God, Brett you would hate. Could you imagine Churk and Brett Favre trying to have a conversation? You would hate.
It'd be awful.
He's an asshole.
That's why I don't like him.
Yeah, he really is.
How about no, I don't know who that is. Brett Favre's the top one.
God, yeah. Why do I have Brett Favre?
Because you were born on October 10th.
You got that Green Bay energy, bro.
I know Steve Nash. I share a birthday with Steve Nash.
Got Steve Nash.
That's a good one.
How about you, James?
I had the same birthday as Bryan. We just went over my list.
Yeah, we've been going over it for the past 5 minutes.
Oh, you've got a ton of baseball players on here that are pretty good. Andrew McCutchen, Troy Tulowitzki.
There you go.
I also share a birthday with the reigning quarterback of the Super Bowl champions, Matthew Stafford.
Nice.
There you go.
That's a good one.
You got Matthew Stafford?
Yep, I got Stafford and I got Steve Nash.
Man, why do I only got Brett Favre? I'm a little mad.
Yeah, well, we have Patrick Mahomes, so.
Come on. I mean, Patrick Mahomes is cooler. Brett Favre is just Brett Favre. He's Brett Favre. He's not Brett Favre.
Brett Favre, a combination of Brett Favre and Bret Hart. He's a wrestler whose gimmick is a football player.
I call him Brett Favre because he's an asshole.
Yeah.
Welcome to So What's the Catch, where shit sometimes hits the fan.
Hour 2.
Yes, it is most definitely hour 2. Speaking of Gronk's old team, the Patriots, they're bringing back their red throwbacks with Pat the Patriot. I cannot wait for this.
I love this. I love this so much. I used to always play with the Patriots in like 2017 in Madden, and I would only use those uniforms.
They're so good.
They were good.
Yeah, they are classic to a T. I mean, like from the color scheme to the stripes, like everything. It's just like the traditional classic football uniform. There's no other way to put it. Like it's just.
That was not my favorite Patriots. Mine was definitely the Bledsoe jerseys.
Those ones were terrible. But
come on,
I love the
James.
aesthetic of these ones.
With the Patriot, like just like down there.
The giant Patriot head on the sleeves were awful.
Yeah, I don't like that one.
You didn't like that one, Brian?
No, I'm a fan of Pat the Patriot. I like the classic look.
You don't like? Why do you not like the Bledsoe jerseys?
Because it just doesn't feel like a classic uniform to me.
There's a difference between classic and dated. Yeah. Those are dated. Pat the Patriot jerseys are classic.
Yes.
Yeah.
That one was classic too, though.
I like the Flying Elvis that they have now. That's what it's actually called.
The Flying Elvis?
Yes.
It's called the Flying Elvis.
But Pat the Patriot is so much better. I love that logo. I kind of wish they never changed to the Flying Elvis. I kind of wish they kept Pat the Patriot as their current logo.
Well, not every team eventually usually has a misstep somewhere and when it comes to logo or uniform design. And that was theirs.
Yeah, we see this all the time. Teams are always reverting back to the old looks that work, because they want to try these new looks that, sometimes they work. I'm not saying all of them miss, but at the end of the day, like there's nothing that is better than those classic, the classic looks that we know throughout the league.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes you end up with the Chargers uniform set that you just came out with. Other times you end up with the Jaguars two-tone helmets.
Now the 90s Chargers uniform was good.
Every Chargers uniform is good.
It is.
Pretty much. It pretty much is.
Yeah. I love 100%. The Chargers.
They should
go back to San Diego.
Yes.
That'll never happen.
Thank you. Josh is on my side.
That won't happen.
It will happen. Brian, it will happen.
It'll never happen, and I don't care.
Brian, it will happen.
But why do you care? Why are you invested in it? I don't understand either of you are invested in any way.
Churk, I hate to burst your bubble, but I'm agreeing with Brian and James on this one. As much as I want for it to happen, it's not going to. They're in Los Angeles now. That's where they're going to stay. Do I think they should have left San Diego in the first place? No, but they did. There's nothing you can do about it. They are in Los Angeles now. Hey, speaking of Los Angeles, the Guardians took 2 out of 3 against the Dodgers. They are playing really good baseball right now.
They are. They've won 6 consecutive series. They're playing great. You really can't argue with that. They're playing great right now.
Yeah.
First place in the standings, and there's a reason for that, and that's because they're playing the best baseball right now in the AL Central by a mile at the time. Minnesota is kind of regressing and leveling out towards the mean, becoming who we kind of thought they were going to be. And the Guardians are going the other direction. They're trending towards a team that is, growing a little bit faster than people had anticipated. So I think we are 2 different teams on 2 different trajectories, and it's fitting that we wake up today in first place, because I think that they've been playing like the best team in the division for quite some time now. So
and they've earned it. Speaking of the division, the White Sox are currently losing to the Toronto Blue Jays 7-0.
Good. Fuck the White Sox.
Giolito make a mess of it again against Toronto. He gave up 6 last time out against them too.
Speaking of baseball, I do believe I share the same birthday as Andrew McCutcheon.
You do. I already mentioned that.
He already mentioned that.
I'll take him. I'll take him over
Brett. But I have an interesting comparison for this Guardians team, because based on what I seen from this team, and you guys agreed with me essentially that they're a contact hitting team and base running. They're not a home run dependent team. So they remind me of the 2014 and 2015 Kansas City Royals, because I think view either one of those Royals teams as being like a very home run dependent team, or however you want to say it. I view them offensively anyway as the same way I view this Guardians team. They play small ball, get singles, doubles. If you get on the base paths, they cause hell. Like when Lorenzo Cain and Alcides Escobar and other guys from those two Royals teams got on base, it was like, oh shit, how am I supposed to focus on pitching when I've got, for example, Lorenzo Cain on first base? Do you kind of see what I'm saying?
They're comparative in that front that they don't hit home runs. They're more of the other extra base hits variety. They're really good base runners. They get on base. So yes, I do agree with that. I'm looking at the 2015 Royals stats right now. Their home run leaders were Kendrys Morales and hold on, just refreshed on me. Mike Moustakas. They had 22.
Yeah. It's an easy comparison right there within the division, and I think it's a smart one to make too because they're another similar market to what Cleveland is in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And side note, go ahead.
I was just going to say we've seen that this is the blueprint that can work for small market teams. So I think making that comparison is I totally see your point, and I'm with you there.
And I know he wasn't on this team, but Owen Miller reminds me of a former Royal, and I've said it before. He reminds me a lot of Billy Butler.
Yeah.
Ooh. Now that you say that, I totally see it.
Yeah. He has doubles. He's not going to hit a ton of home runs. He's just in the gaps.
Yeah. Richie Palacios has been fantastic in this pinch hitting role. Do you think that Terry Francona is ever actually going to put him like in the starting lineup, or do you think he's going to continue to play this pinch hitter late inning role?
Well, a lot of what they've been using him for is defensive replacement and pinch hitter, but he has made his fair share of starts this year. So let's not, I guess, overstate that. He's not just some utility guy that only plays off the bench. I mean, we're not talking about a fourth outfielder replacement only. I mean, he does have, 5 starts this month.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. By no means am I trying to diminish like his value or what he does by any extent.
I think the role that he's in now is a good fit for right now for him.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's a guy that needs to be developed a little bit more. I don't think he's quite ready for an everyday, to solidify a spot in the outfield yet. So I like what James said about him being a defensive replacement too. He's a guy that can play a couple positions, and it's valuable to have guys like that on the team. But I think that this role is a good fit for him right now, and I would anticipate them to continue to use him as such for the rest of the year. But he's definitely capable of being a starter in this league, if that's what you're asking.
Yeah, that's basically what I was asking.
I just don't think he's quite there yet, and that's why we're kind of seeing him brought along in this role. Which is not easy. It's not easy to embrace a pinch hitting role. I mean, there's guys that have been in the league for a long time and been all-time players that aren't good in pinch hitting roles. It's not an easy thing to do. So for a young guy to have so much success doing that right now, it just adds to his value. So I think for him, it's like it's good for Richie, like to find something like that you're excelling in where they can use him in unique situations. Because to be honest, like there's a bit of a logjam with some of the young talent on the team.
You're right.
So that's why I think that this role that he's in right now, it's like, this is a good fit, but he could stay right where he's at for now.
Yeah. I'm looking at the odds for tonight. Minnesota is currently a -160.
Hammer the Guardians. Sonny Gray's a bitch.
Take the money line.
Yeah, I definitely agreed with what you guys were saying on your podcast, which, by the way, go listen to Guarding the Corner on thisisbelieveland.com. I listened to their latest episode talking about the series against the Rockies and against the Dodgers and previewing this series against the Twins. You guys do a fantastic job. Keep up the good work.
Thank you
very much. Yeah, we had a good time doing it. But I agree. I like this matchup. I like McKenzie versus Sonny Gray. I disagree with the fact that the Twins are favored in this game. I mean, obviously because they're at home, that has a little bit to do with it. But yeah, Sonny Gray's not going to continue to be a 2.09 ERA guy. We know enough about Sonny Gray to know that this isn't sustainable for him.
Right.
And then on the other side of things, on the Guardians side of things, I think McKenzie's, going the other direction. He's a guy that's just continuing to get better. So, I think we got a really good chance to win this game tonight. So,
yeah. James, I agree with what you said on your podcast the other day about Sonny Gray. Like, we know once it gets to around this time of year, that's when you start to see his decline. Like, early in the season, this has been his thing throughout his entire career. Early in the season, he goes up, 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 and you're like, oh my God, we're finally going to see that Sonny Gray that we've been expecting, and then like that. And you're like, well, there it is.
I mean, I look at Sonny Gray. We all know what kind of pitcher he is. It's just he's not sustainable. What he's doing is not sustainable for his pitching profile and his overall, I guess, ability as a pitcher. You look at a guy who was a pitch to contact hitter, facing a team that excels at contact, who just got Franmil Reyes back, and he looks more than comfortable because he absolutely crushed a home run last night, and it was awesome.
That was amazing. When he hit that home run, I'm like, yep, Franmil is back.
By the way, I called that last night, tweeted before the game, feeling a Franmil home run tonight. He did it. Call me Mastradamus.
Actually, when I went to that game against Oakland, I didn't realize that Franmil Reyes was out, but I'm just like, wait, where is Franmil Reyes? So I didn't realize at that time that he was injured.
Yeah, so he was injured, and honestly, a little time away from the, I guess, playing for a minute, I think it did him some good because he looked completely lost at the plate.
Yeah, I agree. What did you think of Aaron Savali in his return? Did you like?
I was impressed because he's been dog shit for most of the year. He hasn't been good, but he actually looked good last night. Sure, I am not the biggest believer in the Twins lineup, but he looked good last night. I mean, I really can't ask much more out of him. It's just how I see it. I mean, Savali's can be a good, productive third, fourth starter in their rotation, but he's been pitching like a guy that didn't belong in their rotation for most of the year. But he looked like he figured some stuff out. He looked like, maybe sequencing may have not been right. Maybe his command was just a little bit off. But he looked like a lot better pitcher last night than he has before.
You know what's interesting is you mentioned how you feel like Savali is can be a good third or fourth pitcher in the rotation.
Mm-hmm.
Before this season, before I knew Tristan McKenzie was going to turn into this, based on what I saw the past couple seasons from Savali, I'm like, oh, he could be a good number two behind Shane Bieber. Obviously, that has changed now, but at the time, I thought he could turn into a solid number two pitcher behind Bieber.
Yeah, I think Tristan's nailed that spot down.
I agree with you on that. Now, I'm saying before this season, based on what I saw, I'm like, oh, Savali could fill that role. But I agree with you. Now McKenzie has absolutely nailed that spot.
Yeah, I think Savali's always going to be a third or fourth guy, He's got good stuff, though. When he's on, he's got good stuff. So he's fine, where he's at, being in the middle of the rotation. But, yeah, I think Tristan is only continuing to get better. And he's definitely probably going to be the long-term anchor right behind Shane Bieber. So
right. By no means am I saying now Savali should replace McKenzie in – okay.
All right. So we all watched the game last night, right?
We did.
So question for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because I want to understand where your perspective is in this. I got to find the exact tweet, so hold on.
Okay.
Here it is. Here Here it is. So late in the game, Eli Morgan was pitching. Luis Arias was at the plate. And Luis Arias hits a home run. One of the individuals from the worst sports show period said he would have walked Luis Arias to pitch to Byron Buxton, who has 21 home runs or some shit, where Arias hit his fourth.
Ridiculous. One of the dumber tweets I've seen. And the fact that Andre Knott called him out while he was working just really drove home how dumb of a tweet it was.
Like, I'm sorry, you pitch to Luis Arias every chance you get in that situation.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, that was just a bad pitch in a bad spot. Arias hit it over the wall, but who would you rather face? Luis Arias or Byron Buxton?
People just look at the stat sheet and they see that Arias is currently hitting for a higher average and blah blah blah, and they just assume, like, you know what I mean? It's like it just shows who actually watches the game versus who doesn't, because like we're not even halfway through the season already. Like this Byron Buxton isn't going to finish with a 228 average, and Arias is definitely not going to finish with a 362 average. Like it just was like when he tweeted that, I was like, oh, so what you're saying is you don't actually watch baseball. You just cover the team, because like nobody in their right mind would ever make that decision. Like,
I mean, what he saw was that Arias saw baseball and batting average and on base percentage. Okay.
Yep.
Like, as much as criticism as batting average gets, okay, it does have a place in baseball. I know people are just like, no, batting average doesn't matter. It does matter, because you don't have a batting average, you don't have an on base percentage or slugging or OPS. Okay.
Right.
So it does matter to an extent, but. Arias has 8 doubles and 4 home runs.
Right.
You risk giving up a single to Luis Arias. Okay. He's not going to take you yard all the time.
No.
Okay. You know, I'm looking at Buxton's numbers at 19 home runs and 9 doubles.
Yeah, I mean, it's clear as day, like who you pitch to in that situation.
You pitch to Arias.
Right.
Okay. I'm not even the biggest Byron Buxton guy either. I think he gets hurt too much. I think he's got bones of glass like D. Reynolds. But
he does.
But you don't walk Arias to get to Buxton. That's ridiculous.
No, or absolutely not. You do not walk Arias and go, nope, I'd rather face arguably the Twins' best hitter.
Yeah.
Sorry,
the guy that when he's healthy, right. He is a guy though, like when he's healthy and he is like playing good baseball, he's really good. Like he's a good center fielder in the league. I'm not saying he's not, but he just can't stay on the field. He cannot stay on the field to save his life.
Right.
But yeah, like he is very obviously more of a power threat. And like in that situation, you look at like who's got a better chance of taking you yard. Like sure, Arias took him yard, but like you take that chance every time over, having Buxton do it to you.
Yeah, because even though whataboutism is one of the worst parts in sports and commentary, but let's say you walk the Arias and Byron Buxton takes you yard.
Right.
Franmil Reyes' 2-run home run in the 8th inning doesn't tie the game anymore.
Boom. Makes a difference. Makes a big difference.
100%. It makes all the difference in the world. So going back to Savali for a second, like I said, I think he looked good. Definitely definitely needs some improvement, but that's what's going to happen when it's your first start off since coming off of injury. Like, you're going to be rusty. You're not going to have your best stuff. So I'm not too worried about it. I'm actually going to see him pitch when I go to the Guardians game on Sunday against Boston.
Nice.
What I'm looking for out of Savali moving forward is him to be able to stack good starts like this on top of each other.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because he hasn't done that this year. Okay.
I agree.
He had a very rough stretch. He had a good start, then he landed on the IL after that good start.
Mm-hmm.
But it's been a month since he's pitched. So this was encouraging. It was good. Keep doing it. Give me multiple starts like this in a row.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very encouraging. I agree 100%. And the other thing I wanted to point out too is that like we got off to an early lead. Like when you're pitching with a lead, it's a whole different game. Like he had the advantage of getting production early in the game from the offense. So that definitely helped him. So yeah, I still need to see a little bit more from him, but for his first game back, like, yeah, a lot to be excited about, I would say.
So I feel like our top two are solidified. Bieber at 1, McKenzie at 2. Savali will probably slide in 3 or 4. Right? Savali in at 3 or 4?
I put him 4th behind Quantrill.
I like Quantrill, yeah.
Okay. So you guys are sold on Quantrill then?
I still like Quantrill. I know he had a bad start, but I still like Quantrill.
Definitely this season he's been the better pitcher.
I'm still a little bit on the fence with Quantrill. I'm leaning more towards like in favor of him, but I'm not all the way there yet. It's Zach Plesac though that have a lot of questions about because
he stinks.
Yeah.
I'll finish the sentence. He stinks. Here's my concern for Plesac. I really want to know how much the sticky stuff impacted his actual performance because he's been pretty bad for a long time now.
Yeah.
Yes, agreed 100%. I think that the sticky stuff made all the difference in the world for him.
Yeah.
Maybe you didn't say this, but I will. I think he's being exposed. Yeah,
I mean, he's 27. Like, he's been in the league long enough now that, like, we know who he is, you know, like so I think that the fact that he's kind of been who he is for the past couple of years now, since the sticky stuff has been gone. Yeah, I think you're right. It might be a little bit of him being exposed. Like, now that I don't have that little bit extra to help, you know, I'm not quite the same guy. Because by 27, you should know who you are, you know. And for him,
right.
You can't really make the argument like, oh, well, he could still get better. Like, I don't really look at it that way. I think we've seen his best stuff already.
So could you see a scenario where Plesac gets sent down to AAA Columbus and Pilkington gets called back up to replace him in the starting rotation?
No, but I don't know how many options Plesac has left. And that information's you have to like dig deep to find how many options a guy has left, and I have nowhere any idea where to start to find that, honestly. But Pilkington is someone who I think they'll use in some sort of hybrid 6 starter opener role for now.
Mm-hmm.
If Plesac's not a part of the rotation, it's going to be because he's either hurt or they traded him.
I agree.
And then you got to consider also they instituted the rule where you can only have 12 active pitchers on your roster instead of 13. Right. So 12 or 13 or 13 or 14. I remember. I think it's 12 instead of 13.
Yeah.
And at some point, James Karinchak has to make a reappearance for this club.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
somebody's got to go. Somebody's got to go.
Yeah. So, you know, I don't think bringing up Pilkington over Plesac would be the move there in regards to that, because they still have other players to attend to.
Yeah.
That's a fair assessment. So looking at the major league, just general major league picture, here's the question I wanted to ask you guys. Why is it that only the Yankees are referred to as the pinstripes? Because you look around the league, there's a bunch of other teams who have stripes on their jerseys, but anytime you say the pinstripes, it's automatically the Yankees.
I think they had them first.
Yeah, I think it's just that they started it.
So when you're the first, you can lay claim to something like that.
Yeah, it's like Michigan with the winged helmet, you know. It's like when you're the first to do something like that, then you get to lay claim to it. So
yeah.
So that would be why.
Yeah, it's like other teams wear red socks, but they're not the Red Sox. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
they don't have a corner on the market on Red Sox. The Cardinals wear Red Sox. The Reds wear Red Sox.
Guardians wear Red Sox.
We do.
The Guardians play the Red Sox this coming weekend.
Yeah, and it doesn't hurt that New York has won 8 billion fucking World Series. You know, like they're the most dominant franchise in the league for all time. Like, so that helps, when you're the dominant brand, you get to lay claim to being, the team with pinstripes. It's their version of the. That's why they get to trademark the pinstripes, because they embraced it first. Like Ohio State gets to trademark the, because that's their thing.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough.
That's what it is. I mean, when you're able to do what they've done, as well as they've had for as long as they've had, they can do whatever the hell they want.
Yeah.
I mean, fans have arguments over whether guys have earned their pinstripes, which is the most entertaining shit to watch on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very entertaining to watch. And listen, you mentioned their 27 championships that they have. Okay, they are the evil empire. Okay, except they didn't leave the exhaust port exposed on the Death Star. Okay, they didn't get blown up by a whole bunch of teenagers and X-wings.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that is true.
It's important to know.
It is.
They're fucking good though. That's the one I wanted to mention that earlier when you were talking about that Royals team in 15. Like, that Royals team didn't have a New York Yankees behemoth to go up against on their route to the World Series. It's going to be hard for a team like the Royals to win the World Championship this year with the Yankees coming out of the American League.
Oh yeah, 100%. The Yankees are just a straight up juggernaut. Like,
first team to 50 wins. So
yeah.
So, kudos to me for identifying the Yankees before the season started as a really good team.
You did.
Yes, you did. Hey, I'm not, even though it looks like I'm wrong about the Red Sox winning the division, I was not wrong about them being a good team. They've climbed up the standings.
Ouch. Yeah, nobody doesn't say. Yeah, but I don't think anybody said Boston wasn't good. Who said Boston wasn't a good team?
No, I don't think
every one of us had them in the postseason.
I had the entire AL East except for the Orioles making the postseason.
I had them all except
including
the Orioles.
the Guardians.
The AL East.
The Guardians aren't in the AL East. They're in the AL Central.
Well, I'm exposing myself of how much of a baseball fan I am.
It's all good, man. A long time ago.
We all had the Boston Red Sox making the postseason.
Yeah, a long time ago, Cleveland was in the AL East, but that's when there was only two divisions.
Yes.
Interesting.
I hope Major League, talking about how, going back to what you said way earlier in the show, Brian, about how expansion waters down the competition, I think Major League Baseball is good right where they are. They don't need to expand anymore.
Not that bad news for you. They're expanding and they're going to realign.
Yep.
They're probably going to do away with the current divisions. They're going to do away with the current AL NL format to make it better.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, they are expanding? Where did you hear this?
No, they're going to. I'm just saying. It's not actual report or I'm see anything. You can tell they're going to.
They're going to expand to 32 at least.
Yeah, they're going to. And they're going to do away with their current division format. Mm-hmm. They're going to keep one current rival, and that's it.
Yeah, they've already started to kind of transition into that, like with the schedule next year, how all the teams are playing each other. And
University H.
They're already watering down the divisions, in the process of anticipating that happening.
And the good news for the Guardians, their 14 division that they're going to end up with is going to be with the Tigers, Reds, and Pirates. So, I mean, that's just going to be forever division titles.
Yeah, that would be awesome if that's the way.
I would love that division.
That
division, be a great fucking division.
That division would just be hilarious because the Guardians would get to like 100 wins and everybody else is at like 70.
Be like the 90s again.
Yeah, it would be great.
The 90s.
Yeah, I'd be totally fine with a division being the Guardians, Reds, Tigers, and Pirates. But seriously, as I said,
they're all right there. They're all close to each other. It would make so much sense. Bunch them up, cut down on travel. You would also cut down on costs. You would be able to save the owners more money, something they're worried about.
Yeah.
And you just group all of the closest teams together. Sure, there's going to be a division or two that has more travel to deal with. But when you play in Seattle or Tampa or Miami, that's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, speaking of the Pirates, how about O'Neal Cruz?
This dude is a dude.
Man. He's the man.
Yeah. 6'7" shortstop, dynamic fucking player.
That's like Randy Johnson. How much does he weigh?
Yeah, I had O'Neal Cruz winning NL Rookie of the Year, so no surprises by him.
O'Neal Cruz is 220, so he's a twig.
Oh, he is like Randy Johnson.
Well, he doesn't pitch at all. Plays a whole entire
could.
Yeah, I know.
O'Neal Cruz could. He's not a pitcher. He threw a ball from shortstop to first base that was clocked at 96.7 miles an hour.
Yeah, Randy or Cruz?
O'Neal Cruz. This happened the other day, and he only brought his arm back to here. It wasn't even a full delivery wind up. It was incredible.
He's got an arm like a fucking cannon. Yeah, and he can hit the piss out of the ball too. He's going to be a very, very good player for a very long time. If it wasn't for the excitement surrounding Seiya Suzuki earlier in the year, I think that he would have been the story from jump. But yeah, I'm glad that he's finally back up in the big leagues. He's here to stay. He's not going anywhere now.
Oh, no.
Yeah, he's the real deal. He is the real deal. And I'm starting to feel a lot better about that pick for Rookie of the Year.
I am all in on O'Neal Cruz, my friend. Okay?
Wow.
That dude is legit.
Yeah, he is. He's that good. He's that type of player.
Yeah. Oh, do you like the hat reveal?
Yeah.
He's very good.
I like it.
Not being the Guardians, though.
We were talking about this Pirates team. They've got some young talent, man. They're going to be a really fun team to watch. If nothing else, they're going to be a fun team to play with.
They won't beat the Guardians, though.
Well.
Oh, well. But, I mean, O'Neal Cruz, awesome. Brian Hayes, awesome. Brian Reynolds, awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Henry Davis, catching prospect in the pipeline, gonna be a big factor for that team in a couple years.
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe the Pirates owners are actually like, hey, let's put a good team in our beautiful ballpark. What a freaking concept.
If I'm the Pirates ownership,
these guys yet.
Yeah, they have. They're all under nothing contracts. If I'm the Pirates ownership right now, I offer O'Neal Cruz the Wander Franco contract right this moment.
Yeah, you build your entire franchise around that guy. He's that type of player. You've got him now. You don't let him go. You absolutely take advantage of the situation that you find yourself in with him. But yeah, it remains to be seen if the Pirates will do any of that. Because to be honest, they don't spend money. So a lot of these guys are going to demand a lot of money. They're going to demand high-figure salaries. And in a year or two, you're going to have to start having those conversations, and we'll see what happens. I really do hope, though, for their sake, they've got such a beautiful ballpark, so much history there in Pittsburgh. The league would be better if the Pirates were better. That ballpark, when they made the wild card a few years ago, I know it's been a while now, but that was fucking electric for the one game.
Yeah.
That was one of the coolest environments in all of baseball, in my opinion. So
I remember from that, if I remember which wild card game you're talking about, Cueto drops the Roslin bag and the crowd just goes nuts. Is that the wild card game you're talking about from 2013?
Maybe. I don't remember off the top of my head what year it was.
Because they were in the wild card. They hosted the wild card game 3 consecutive years, I believe it was. 2013, 2014, and I believe 2015.
The place was nuts, all three. The place was nuts. The point remains the same.
Yeah.
But tons of fun, young talent for the Pirates. Jack Sawinski's even fun, too. That dude hit 3 home runs, including a walk-off the other day. That was incredible.
I watched highlights of that. I'm like, this dude can rake.
Yeah, they're doing a lot better than a lot of people thought. I think they're coming along, and they've got a lot to be excited about. But it's all a matter of what ownership is willing to do to, make the team get better. If they're concerned with getting better even or not, it seems like their main concern is just turning a profit. So I don't have much hope for Pittsburgh fans. I hate to say it, but we'll see.
Right now, they are hosting the Cubs, and right now Chicago is a -130.
Yeah, it's regular season baseball games. Those money line things don't really matter that much.
The Pittsburgh Pirates are in third place in the National League Central at 28-39.
Mm-hmm.
Dead last, the Cincinnati Reds.
Yeah, not good. Not good at all.
Yeah.
The Red Legs suck.
Yeah. I mean, the Royals, record-wise, are the worst team in baseball, but I still say Cincinnati's worse. Just based on what I see on the field. Although Cincinnati has been playing a little bit better lately, but not much.
The Reds have the worst record in baseball.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought the Royals.
No, the Reds
are 23-44. The Royals have won more than 23.
Actually, correction, it's the A's 25. With the worst record in baseball. They're 23-46.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah.
They have 2 more losses than the Reds.
Oh, yeah. How surprised am I that the Oakland A's are the worst team in baseball? Not at all.
Yeah, you saw the team playing take off with their chances this season.
Yeah.
They're 20 games back already. 20 games back of the Houston Astros. Holy shit, that's crazy.
We won 7. We won, let's see, we had 3 there, 4 there, or 4 here. I'm not going to try and do the math, but we won the regular season series against them by a wide margin. They only won a game against us.
That's good because they suck. I mean, no offense to to Dallas Braden. I love Dallas Braden, but the A's are fucking terrible.
They are terrible.
They're awful.
That poor franchise. I don't know how long they're going to last.
I mean, they're going to be gone.
Yeah.
They'll be gone.
They're moving to Vegas.
Which is a real shame because their whole little hashtag and team motto thing for a minute was rooted in Oakland, and that just aged terribly.
Yeah. Oakland's getting the shaft, man. Everybody's getting the hell out of there. Even Golden State went to San Francisco across the bay. It's not looking good for Oakland fans. I hope that the A's stay there, though.
I also got a berserker before we go off the show.
Oh, well, it's 4:00, so why don't you drop our berserker of the week? It
is Jason Tatum Tots.
What?
Tatum Tots?
Yes.
Huh?
Okay.
That's my nickname for him. He put up a battle.
Tatum.
That's a basketball reference nickname. That's what that is.
No, I made that up.
Did you make up Tatum Tots?
Yeah.
I'm Googling it right now.
Okay.
Is it original?
Okay. By the way, you are getting no Stanley Cup playoff update. None.
We're trying to figure this out.
Anyway.
We're more interested in this.
Tatum Tots. At this point, Churk, you might be the first one. I don't know. I haven't pulled up.
We got a new nickname, and it's on this show. We're trademarking that.
All right.
Anyway.
Tatum Tots for So What's the Catch?
Okay. I'm going to look at what his basketball reference nicknames are because I'm sure they're the same caliber as that.
Yeah. Do you like Tatum Tot, the nickname? Tatum Tots?
You can have it, Churk.
It's more interesting than Jay and Taco Jay. So, yeah, I'm very much more interested in Tatum Tots than those two.
I'm with you, Churk. I'll hashtag Tatum Tots for the whole rest of the next NBA season.
Thank you, Tatum.
Remind me in the preseason during Summer League, and I'll start that hashtag Tatum Tots on Twitter.
Yeah. Well,
yes, please.
Even when I share this video afterwards on my Facebook page, I'll even do hashtag Tatum Tots.
Credit me if this goes big.
Okay, I will credit you. Hey, quick thing. On next week's show, I have an announcement, but I'm not going to say any more about that. But it's related to 4th of July weekend.
Okay.
Sweet. So stay tuned. Right. Yeah, next week, 2:00. We'll see you then. Yep.